Your music, your station. This is Total Star. It's Tuesday. It's Dave. And, time then for today's little interview. And today featuring a singer-songwriter who you may not have come across before, but I think you'll quite like him. His name's Jeff Lowe. I'm pleased to say he's on the other end of the phone. Jeff, thank you for joining me this afternoon.
Yeah, hi.
Now, fine, thank you. How are things with you?
Really good, actually. Yeah, I've had a great response from the EP, which is 4 tracks taken from my new album, HItchcock Cafe.
There are 4 tracks, obviously, that we've got on the EP.
Yeah.
But they encompass far more than just one style of music within them.
Sure. When people say to me, what sort of music do you like? I kind of find that such an impossible question to answer. Yeah. Although there is a continuity on the album, yes, it is very, very, very varied, which some people might criticise, but for me, it's a positive thing.
Now, taking 2 of the tracks, Public Information Song, which obviously we'll talk about properly in a second, and Closer, those 2 are just so far apart, but they work as part of the EP together. Thank you.
Well, yeah, that was the idea. Obviously the vocal itself will give them continuity because it's me singing them, but yeah, I know what you're saying. They are, in actual fact, they're not, the subject matter, the themes are not that too far apart, actually.
Well, I guess we pick up on the Public Information Song's lyrics probably stronger than the others, purely because it's something that is in the forefront of lots of people's...
Absolutely, and the governments as well at the moment, isn't it?
The thing is that as part of my show, I speak to the local CCTV control centre.
The thing is, Dave, it's not, as you probably well know, it's not a black and white issue.
No, it's not.
And I'm not advocating banning CCTV per se, I'm just saying that we need to look at it and it needs discussing. And frankly, that song was more of a light-hearted look at the culture as a whole,
Yeah.
Camera culture as a whole. I'm talking about X Factor, I'm talking about the fact that they record everything. We may record your call for training purposes, as it were.
Do you think there's a danger that we'll just kind of accept that it's there at some stage?
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's the point I'm trying to make, is that it's just gone... particularly this country for some reason. They've estimated there are, I think it's something like 4.2 million CCTV cameras in this country.
I think most of them are around here.
That's more apparently than there is in the whole of Europe.
Yeah.
And I don't wish to come over as some kind of paranoid conspiracy theorist, but it's that whole thing about a totalitarian state, and we can sort of easily and insidiously go into a situation like that without realising it's happened.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Yeah. I wonder what Hitchcock would make of it.
Well, yes, I think he would have made an interesting film on the subject.
This is Wrong Junction.
Where are you going with that open smile? I sense it's further than you should. You won't see me getting overexcited, no. You'll think you've misunderstood. I play no game, this ain't no hide and seek. You wouldn't find me even once. I'm as elusive as I am cowardly, so don't expect a response. And it's the sweetest assumption, you're at the wrong junction. I hope you hear when I say I'd love to give you confirmation you're at the right station, but I give nothing away. And it's the sweetest assumption, you're at the wrong junction, but I give nothing away. No code or combination cracks this safe, no password from old Mr. Freud. No hidden jewel on the inside here, sugar, just one emotional void. And it's the sweetest assumption, you're at the wrong junction. I hope you hear when I say I'd love to give you confirmation, give you at the right station, but I give nothing away. And it's the sweetest assumption you're at the wrong junction, but I give nothing away. I'm on the run from any chance of a heartbreak, and I can't afford this surprise. I knew the very first moment I met you, those beautiful searching eyes may soon see through my disguise. Assumption you're at the wrong junction. I hope you hear when I say I'd love to give you confirmation if you're at the right station, but I give nothing away. And it's the sweetest assumption you're at the wrong junction, but I give nothing away. Alright.
You mentioned about downloading. Now, obviously, it's become very much a part of our culture now.
Yeah.
I have to say that in many ways, I'm still very old-fashioned. I was actually having this conversation, fun enough, with Steve Betts from Radio Promotions the other day.
Yeah.
He actually said to me, Dave, out of interest, as a broadcaster, do you prefer to actually get a CD? Do you prefer to have a secure login where you can download it? You know, you tell me.
Yeah.
I said, I'm quite old-fashioned. I actually really like to have the CD in my hand. As opposed to a download, which just seems so impersonal. But obviously, the other problem for somebody like yourself, of course, is that as a musician and a writer, the whole downloading culture and file sharing must have made things just completely different for you and much more difficult.
Yeah, I tend to be a bit old school with my outlook towards it, but that's, I think, just perhaps it's not old school, perhaps it's just common sense, because if you do a job, i.e. make music, and people like it, then they'll buy a book, or they'll be downloading books now as well, won't they?
With the iPads, yeah.
But somebody makes a table or a chair, for example, and they spent a lot of time on it, and it's a lovely piece of furniture. People pay money for that, so why don't they pay money for music? Because it takes musicians and artists a long time to actually get it together and do it, So it's really just as simple as that.
Right,
we live in a capitalist society. It's if the whole system was based on bartering, it might be different, but it's not. You pay for what you have.
Yeah.
Obviously, there are situations where people are, especially a lot of young people, haven't got a lot of money, and they want to, and they're a big fan. They love your music, and they want to get hold of it, and they just haven't got any money. So there are situations where you can kind of understand them downloading it for free off these sites, but generally, the whole thing, it needs looking at, which they are doing. I know the Musicians Union are really hot on it, and trying to make people. I think there's some kind of campaign going on now where they're trying to make people proud to buy music. Rather than it being a download sort of culture. So,
right, I need to take a quick pause there. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back in a second with more music from Jeff Lowe, and we'll play a track called Closer right here on Total Star next.
asylum. Alone, the TV and me. From soaps to documentaries, I wonder, will I ever be free? So, as with Cleopatra, I've been bitten by snakes. Through the lives of these heroes, I found my escape. Here I go. I'm turning the TV over. One more show. Then I'm gonna quit this sofa. Without this girl, the real world's a sad commercial. I could cry, or I could get closer to you. I could die, or I could get closer to you. I could die, or I could get closer to you. Or I could die for you. Left now, I'm wondering, should I call her? Well, she was my lowest lane. But oh, who then can I be? The meaning has gone from my name. Here I go. I'm turning the TV over. One more show. Then I'm gonna quit this sofa. Without this girl, the real world's a sad commercial. I could cry, or I could get closer to you. I could die, or I could get closer to you. I could die, or I could get closer to you. A TV zombie with no hope. I suck the blood from TV soaps. My brain has given up and died. Yeah, but my heart is still alive. Still alive. Still alive. Still alive. Still alive. Still alive. I could die, or I could get closer to you. I could die, or I could get closer to you. I could die, or just a little closer. I could die, or I could get closer to you. I could die, or I could get closer to you. I could die, or I could get closer to you. I could die.
It's Drive Time with Dave on a Tuesday afternoon. This is Total Star. Thank you for your company. The website is jefflowmusic.com. That's Jeff, Jeff, JEFFLOWE music.com. Okay, and you can find out all about him on there, and there's also a way of being able to get hold of him, and you can also hear tracks from the album that we haven't played as well. The album is out now. It's called HItchcock Cafe.